Chapter 18. After Phobio left. All right, Milim, I asked, I'd like some more details about the promise you made. I can't let you do that. Milim replied, we made a promise that we wouldn't meddle with each other, so I can't even tell you, Rimuru. Ah, thanks for revealing you've got a secret, then. Now we had a grown-up and a child trying to outwit each other, and honestly, I liked my chances. Oh no, was this a promise that you'd keep things a secret from each other? No, nothing like that. Just not to meddle. No, well, it's fine, then, isn't it? I mean, Carolon's obviously told his minions all about you, huh, Milim? Besides, we're BFFs, and we gotta help each other out, you know. And I just figured, I'd better know what I can about demon lords besides you, Milim. Plus, if I don't know what kind of promise you made, how can I make sure I don't accidentally start meddling, huh? I put a special emphasis on BFFs. Yeah, but, BFFs, just one more push. I decided to offer a toy to cheer her up. Oh, right, how about I make you a weapon sometime? I can't help but worry about my BFF, so. Wahahahaha. You're right, being BFFs is the most important thing, huh? And down goes Milim, just way too easy. I kept my lips from spreading into a maniacal grin as I nodded with the breezy confidence of a grown-up. So I successfully extracted what I wanted from Milim: information on 3 other demon lords besides her, and what they all wanted, what happened just now, and what was happening behind the scenes. Quite a bit about the mysteries I was concerned about. But wow, demon lords, trying to create a puppet demon lord of their own. Milim was in on it just to alleviate her boredom, but this was a pretty serious operation, wasn't it? And if I'm getting in the way of it, then no wonder they're after us. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. Gobta certainly sounded triumphant in his briefing. We were at the usual meeting hall, Milim seated next to me like she had somehow earned the right. Ren was standing right behind me. And Xian and Soe were behind us, with Rigard and Benimaru seated ahead. Next to Gobta were Kabul, his 2 friends, and an unfamiliar middle-aged guy. He was joined by a tanned, rugged-looking man and a fairly nervous-looking magician type. Shuna had just taken her own seat, ordering one of her assistants to bring out tea for the group, and then Gobta began talking. Once he finished, we all decided to introduce one another. The middle-aged guy was Fuse, the top guy at the guild in the Kingdom of Bloomond. Must have been the dude who told Soe he wanted an audience with me. The tanned guy's name was Yom, and he called himself the captain of the Frontier Expedition Force, sent out by one of the earls in the Kingdom of Farmus. The thin, flinchy guy next to him really was a magician, as it turned out Rommel was his name, and judging by the looks of things, he was the brains to Yom's brawn. Once they all gave their names, I decided to give mine. Guess I better speak up, too. My name is Rimuru Tempest, and I'm the leader of this town, or nation, or whatever you wanna call it. The Jura Tempest Federation is the official name for it. And as you can see, I'm totally a slime. It felt necessary to mention that, given how I was the only non-human in the room. It made the older guy open his eyes wide. Truly, a slime. He seemed to know at least a bit about me, but I guess I should have expected him to be a little shocked. If it didn't personally happen to me, I guess I'd have trouble believing that a slime was going around acting like the king of his little nation of monsters. So, Rimuru, Kabul asked, who are all the new faces in the room? He must have meant the ogre mages and Ren. I gave them all an intro. That just left Milim, who spoke up before I had a chance to point her out. And I'm Milim, good to meet ya. A pretty casual intro, especially for a demon lord prone to bouts of cruelty like she was. Hopefully nobody was fooled by the pretty face. The very idea of monsters creating towns, pardon me. I can understand demi-humans building settlements well enough, but a town where multiple races live together? I've never heard of such a thing. I have a habit of not fully believing something unless I witness it with my own eyes, you see. And if this whole story was true, I wanted to figure out how we would interact with it, and how much. The reports I received told me this land wasn't a threat, but I thought ascertaining for myself would be the best move. So that's what brings me here. I was hoping you'll permit me to stay a while so I can survey the entirety of your operations. It made sense to me. I'd hate to be feared as a potential threat, so I readily gave Fuse permission. You might not believe it, I explained, but I'd really like to be friends with the humans. I already told Kabul and his friends about that. I'm not asking for it immediately, but you know, I think it'd be nice if we could start engaging in trade or some other kind of interaction. We've already opened formal relations with the Dwarven Kingdom along those lines, which you're free to confirm for yourself. I think your merchants would find it pretty convenient if they could run caravans through this area, but what do you think? Hang on, please, just one moment. You mean the armed nation of Dwargen? I know that is a neutral kingdom, one that had close relations with many demi-human races, but you're saying it's recognized this land of monsters as a nation. Because I find that extremely hard to believe. I had asked him to trust in me, but he was proving a tough nut to crack. So I called for Vester as a witness. It turns out Fuse was familiar with him. Minister Vester. Not anymore, I suppose. But regardless, I never imagined meeting someone of your stature here. Is all of this true? Ah, well met, Sir Fuse. It has been quite a while, hasn't it? Well, you are correct. Through a rather unique turn of events, I am now living quite peacefully in this land. Everything Sir Rimuru has told you is the truth. King Gazel and Sir Rimuru signed the covenant themselves. The conversation wended its way across a few other topics, but I still had the impression Fuse thought he was dreaming all of it. Maybe the idea of monsters banding together and establishing a nation was a little too wild for just anyone in this world to start believing yet. Yome's motives, meanwhile, were a bit more complex. He and his band of men intended to fake their own deaths in order to gain their freedom. Alright, so, Fuse, people already know around your kingdom that the Orc Lord was defeated, right? No, only the king and a few select people are aware. And that meant, okay, so, Yome, wanna forge a contract with me? Huh, what the hell are you how do you mean, sir? Now both Xian and Shuna were glaring at him. They must not have liked that tone of voice. Maybe it'd be kinder of me to pretend not to notice. Well, to put it simply, Yome and his band of 30 men would become the saviors of the day, the slayers of the Orc Lord. That monster was well and truly defeated, and yet Fuse still eyed me with suspicion because I was a slime, a monster. In that case, why don't we frame the rumors we'd spread so that I merely cooperated with Yome, and he was the one who pulled off the feat? Which also helps boost our reputation as a kind and helpful monsters. That's the basic idea of it, but what do you think? Our guests were dead, silent, too frozen to react. Cobble and his friends, meanwhile, were so lost in this conversation that they had decided to sit there and enjoy their tea instead. Rimuru, yeah. Well, alright, I'll do what you say. All these menaces to society you got serving ya, I gotta admit you're one hell of a slime. From now on, as far as I'm concerned, I'm all yours, pal. Tell me what you want. It was a surprise, hearing that the moment he got his marbles together. Yeah, sure thing, and thanks. I nodded at him in agreement. In that case, Fuse added, I have no objections about working with you on this, too. However, would you mind if I made absolutely sure, first, that you are on the side of the human race? Okay, that's fair enough. And now Fuse was with me, too. In exchange, I offered Fuse preferential treatment for some of the merchants coming from Bloomend. Any merchants affiliated with the Free Guild there would be allowed to stay at Rimuru, capital of the Jura Tempest Federation. For now, we weren't charging any tariffs that could be discussed among us once they trusted us well enough and we opened a bit more formal diplomacy. There was still a ton of work to do, but at least things were settled between ourselves and Fuse. And Bloomend was a small country. The rise of a nation with trade routes and a friendly leader offering them held major meaning. If we could toss guaranteed safety across the entire region into the mix, Bloomend could stand to make a major profit from it. If they could trust us enough to commit, that is. Now, to let Fuse bring that offer home and come back with a more detailed report. I couldn't say how it would turn out, but I had to hope things would go in a more positive direction from now on. As for Yome and his band, they would be staying here for a while. If he was going to be our Orc Lord slaying champion, he needed to look the part. Hakuro was probably training him hard right then. He was training hard in this town, his talents now noticeably improved. A little bit more work on him, and nobody would ever doubt for a moment that Yome slew the Orc Lord. Several weeks later, all of Yome's equipment was ready. We finally had his horses and his communication crystals. Well, it's been fun, pal. We'll see you for now, Rimuru. And with that, Yome set off, promising to use this town as a base for their future activities. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. It had been several weeks since Milim arrived, and the time really passed by in a flash. Every day was a battle with her. Not much had changed with life around town after Yom and his crew left. The only real difference was the guests we were now hosting. Kabul and friends were still staying here, as was Fuse. Don't you kind of need to get back home sooner or later? How long were you planning to stay anyway? I decided to bring up the question with Fuse while Kabul and his gang were taking Milim out hunting. They got along pretty well with her, too. By now they were her second favorite after me. I needed to take advantage as much as I could. Well, is it all right if I stayed a little bit longer? There's, a lot of things to tackle. He wanted more time. He, too, had been walking around town, observing the assorted goings-on. He wasn't liable to cause trouble if I took my eyes off him, unlike Milim, but it still made me nervous. Oh, come on, you're still not convinced that we're not a threat? The whole reason for his stay was because he was suspicious of us or me, really. The longer he stayed here, the more concerned it made me. Oh no, I've long since dropped any worries I had about you. It's just, his voice trailed off. Okay, so why are you still here? I pressed. Fuse scowled a little, then resigned himself to reveal the truth. Well, it's just comfortable living here, Thinking about it, it's been a long while since I've had a chance to rest and take it easy, so, I was thinking this was a good chance to let my hair down for a bit. I suppose Fuse really did see this town as a kind of health spa. Guess installing that hot spring bath and working hard to improve our food quality paid off. It was more the work of Shuna and the three dwarven brothers than me, but still. Kabul and his friends were back by the time I had finished cajoling Fuse. Milim came running up to me, a big smile on her face. Wah ha 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 ha. Another bumper crop today. Behind her, Kabul and Guido were both carrying a huge number of monsters on their backs. Boy, that Milim sure is something else. She can spot out monsters in the blink of an eye. She made things so much easier for us. The empty-handed Ellen beamed as she trailed behind the demon lord. Suddenly, Milim ran next to me, eyes pointed forward. Who's there? She handed me to Milim as she addressed some presents in front of her. I'm not a piece of baggage, I have no idea why they're ferrying me back and forth, like I'm some fragile work of art. Benimaru and Soe took position behind Milim as I grumped about this for a moment, Hakuro standing nearby among the trees. I didn't spot him arriving. He must have been training just now, but his clothing was still in perfect order. Impressive. And with Ranga bursting out from my shadow, we now had the town's main force gathered together. The person facing us was familiar to me. It has been quite a long time, my leader. It was Treya, a dryad and Trainee's younger sister. Sure has. But why are you looking like that? All like you're about to kill someone, I said as she kneeled before me. The seething rage was something you could detect even from far away, sharp enough to make both Milim and Xian react to it. Her semi-translucent body was a bit hazy in places, perhaps she had taken some damage. It was clear that something happened to her. Well, I am afraid it is an emergency. Charybdis, a calamity-class monster, has revived itself. The power wielded by this great spirit is akin to a demon lord's. My sisters are keeping it immobile for now, but we are hopelessly outclassed. Plus, it appears the Great Spirit is seeking out this land. Charybdis is a tyrant of the skies, ground-based forces can do little against it. I came here to advise you that you must solidify your defenses and prepare some aerial war power. The fatigue was clear on her face as she explained. Tension quickly filled the air. Surprisingly, Fuse was the first to react. He was stunned to near silence the moment he saw Treya, a dryad. He had shouted, but the mention of Charybdis's name got his brain in gear again. The blood drained from his face as he shouted. Charybdis. Oh, man, if it's really revived, that's a bigger threat than any demon lord. Unlike those guys, you can't even reason with this thing. It's classified as a calamity, but I'd say it's safe to assume it's a full-on disaster, if anything. Thanks to its unique summon monster skill, it could call out schools of megalodons, a large, shark-type monster, anytime it wanted. If Fuse was right, then I honestly had to agree with him. This was worse than a demon lord. I don't know why we would be targeted, but if we are, this is great for us. We must choose the best fighters we have and prepare to counter this force. Benimaru was certainly excited, but we needed people who could fly. Right, I forgot Gabble. He's probably doing research in the cave. Can someone get him for me? So I went off to fetch him. In the meantime, I decided to go back to town and hold a prep meeting. We were back in the now familiar meeting hall, Treya using thought communication to speak with her sisters. So I was back with Gabble, with Vester joining him, so we could make contact with King Gazel if need be. On the question of aerial firepower, the first thing that crossed my mind were his Pegasus Knights. If I could gain their support, I couldn't ask for anyone better to rely on. Things couldn't be much worse, Treya began. For some reason, the summoned megalodons have incarnated themselves in the corpses of some lesser dragons. They've manifested to creatures over 60 feet in length, like nothing we have ever seen before, and there are 13 of them. Quote. Everyone in the room lost their voice at this. A creature as strong as a demon lord, plus 13 other A-rank monsters. I wanted to ask if this was some kind of a joke. What will we do, Sir Rimuru? Benimaru asked. That's what I want to ask, but I'm the leader of this alliance. And it's my job to make the decisions. Plus, no matter how much I hemmed and hawed about it, there was only one answer to give. What'll we do? Well, we'll kill it, won't we? Reluctant though I was, I presented that conclusion to the others. The moment I said it, everyone in the room took action. Hey, I didn't need to ask. In that case, I will begin to prepare. Indeed, what else could we do? Exactly. This will be no sweat for Sir Rimuru. When it came to this sort of thing, they knew exactly what to do. Nobody voiced any disagreement with me. Instead, they sought out their roles and sprang into action. The sight made Fuse lose his head a little. After everyone sprang into action, the only people left in the meeting hall besides me were Fuse and Cabal's trio. We took the opportunity to talk over a few things. Alright, I'm not gonna tell you guys not to worry about anything, but I intend to do everything I can for this. I'm having Vester make contact with King Gazel for me, so we should expect some more support, too. After that, well, I'll do what I can, I said. Quote. You aren't going to run? He finally asked after a moment of thought, clearly worried for all of us. He was gravely serious, and I thought he deserved a serious reply. What would running accomplish? I'm the strongest dude in this nation. I've told my people to take refuge if I ever lose, but you know, just because I lose one fight doesn't mean I'm giving up on the battle. If there's absolutely no chance of winning, then sure, I'll run away and think up another plan. If not, though, then it's important that I go right in front of our foe and gauge how strong he is with my own eyes, isn't it? I need to do that if I want to formulate any kind of strategy. Plus, since I am the strongest in the alliance, nobody's running as long as I don't lose. I thought about saying that, but I found it a little too embarrassing. It just felt so lame, telling people that it was a leader's job to take the loss sometimes. That's why I tried not to lose, if I could. Until I actually did lose, I had to play the strongman role to live up to everyone's expectations. Quote. That's what being a leader of monsters means, I suppose. Yeah, well, this isn't the kind of nation that would crumble after losing its king anyway, so. Fuse nodded at me. He looked convinced enough. Still, it strikes me, Sir Rimuru, that you think quite a bit like we humans do. You don't seem like a monster at all. Plus, it's just so strange, having a slime be the most powerful being in the realm, he said with a chuckle. Maybe so. You might find this hard to believe, actually, but I used to be a human being, too. You know Shizu, right? I think I'm probably an otherworlder, just like she is. Though, really, it was more like I died in my old world and got reborn as a slime in this one. And while I'm at it, I used my universal shapeshift extra skill to transform into a human. What on? Fuse's eyes lit up as Cabal's crew audibly yelped in surprise. It was Ellen who noticed first. Looking at you. That's like a smaller version of Shizu, isn't it? She timidly asked. Oh, no way, Ellen. Yeah, Shizu was an old lady. She wasn't anywhere near as cute looking as this. Cabal and Guido were quick to protest, but Ellen held her ground. No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I saw her. Like, what she looked like under the mask. Oh, she did. It was just for an instant, so I didn't think any of them caught a glimpse, but this works well for me, though. I was going to tell them now anyway. I removed the mask from my pocket and put it on the table. That's Shizu's mask, right? They eyed it, then me. Yeah, I wasn't really hiding it or anything, but I didn't take this form around you guys because I didn't want you to get the wrong idea. Ellen's right, I inherited this form from Shizu. Quote. Inherited. Yeah, when I ate her. The four of them looked surprised, but none seemed angry. They retained their cool as they waited for me to continue. They had chosen to believe in me, luckily enough. Shizu and I came from the same country. When she died, she asked me to take over her mission, and as proof that I've taken on her will, I picked up the form you see here. So, I can't go around acting like an ass while I look like Shizu, you know. I said quietly. About half of that was my real feelings. The other half, really, was just an excuse I was using to deceive myself. Guess there's no helping it if they're suspicious of me now, I thought, as I turned my eyes to Fuse. Quote. Can you tell us what happened? There was not a trace of doubt in his voice. So I spent the next few minutes describing Shizu's final moments, as well as the circumstances behind my death and rebirth. I see. So that's what it was, Fuse whispered. Perhaps Fuse had been spending so much time in this town because he wanted to ask me about Shizu. Just like me, he had trouble finding the right time to bring it up. Well, Kabul said, I believe in you, pal. Yeah, me too. And me, Ellen insisted. But, wow, Shizu really did everything she could to make her dream come true. And now you're gonna try to make that happen, Rimuru. I am. I promised her as much. I'm going to free up all the emotions that are binding her heart down. Not that I've met the guy or anything yet, but as far as I'm concerned, the Demon Lord Leon is my prey to catch. Wow, I always knew I could believe in you, Rimuru. Ellen flashed me a friendly smile. As for the other three men, Leon, you've got a death wish, Rimuru. I mean, Charybdis is practically a pushover compared to that guy. Yes, you can't go around calling someone like that your prey. Don't blame me if it leads to your death. They were, to say the least, a little unnerved. Well, so be it. Wish they could learn a little from Ellen, but our little heart-to-heart seemed to have earned me all their trust. They each offered to join in this battle, but I turned them down. If I blew this, as I explained, it'd be up to them to figure out a new plan immediately. They relented pretty quickly. To be continued.